Hey, welcome to another Gator Sports podcast. Today I am joined by cross-country scholar athletes. Both of them are seniors, so we get to learn about their experience here at Gateway. So I've got Faye Schrader, senior Faye Schrader, and I've got senior Alex Hartline. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's talk all things cross-country and Gateway School, and let's learn about you and your experiences here. So I guess I'll start with you, Faye.
All right.
How does somebody get started in cross country? It's not like the easiest sport. You're just running a lot. Does somebody have to pay you to run? Well, how do they get you to do it?
Before my freshman year, I knew I was going into soccer, but I had a lot of friends who are in cross country, and they were texting me over the summer telling me they didn't have enough girls for our varsity team. So I decided to go out there and get some conditioning in before soccer, and I think I signed my 4-year contract then.
Once you're in, they don't let you out.
Oh yeah.
It's like the gulag, you know. Oh no, we want you here. I know coaches that way. He loves to have people joining. What about you, Alex? What got you in it?
It was really just I was really into soccer in middle school, and I played it for my whole life until I think last year I decided I wasn't gonna play it any longer, but I decided, let's get some conditioning in, I was like, that's all I need. I was like, I'm not going to do this for high school. I was like, I'm just going to do it for a year or two, start in 7th grade. And here we are, senior year.
All this time, running.
Yeah.
So what was like the most, there's got to be some moments when you're running cross country when you're like, it just sucks. Like, oh, this is awful.
Yeah.
Tell me about one of those, Faye, when you went, oh, what am I doing here out in this cold, whatever it was. Give me.
That was, for me, probably the regional cross country meet last year, because we ran at about 3 p.m. It was like probably 90 degrees outside. I was scared I was going to be late because there was so much traffic, and I was the only one from Gateway there, so I was alone. And the course, I'm not a huge fan of this course that we do. There's some sand and some hills. On that second mile, I was not feeling good. I was like, maybe I can just finish this race.
What am I doing out here?
Oh yeah.
Oh, but there's got to be some great moments too. Alex, for you, when you think about your experience cross country running, is there one of those times where you went, oh man, that was awesome? When was that?
I would say there's a few this year. I think my highlight this year was our first meet, which there's a picture of me smiling running up the finish line, which makes me look a little crazy. But it was last year was a tough season, and I didn't do what I wanted to do, and I got COVID, and everything kind of just felt set back. So I really wanted to go out hard and get a good first time, and I broke 18, which I really had never done, on one of our hardest courses of the year. So I think that was that was one of the best meets I've ever ran, and it was probably the happiest I've ever been after a meet.
Yeah. So 18, so that's 3 miles. You're doing 3 miles, right?
Yes.
So that's 6, you're doing 6-minute miles?
Yeah, for that one it was about
that's
5:50s for the
5:50, yeah. And then so what does it take how do you get really good at lacrosse? I mean, what are the things that you would tell a young kid at Gateway? This is what you're going to have to do if you really want to excel in cross country. I mean, go ahead. What do you think, Faye?
A lot of it, cross country, is very mental because it's not like on a track where you can see your competitors the whole time. So it's really just getting out there and getting the miles in and getting used to running that far. Over the summer, me and Alex tried to organize some practices. We went down to Austin. There's a 7-mile loop around Town Lake, so we'd go out and we'd run together, just trying to finish it and get used to all that mileage so we were ready for a race.
Yeah, and for team cross country points, you got to get a lot of the runners from the school all kind of doing well, right? So how do you to get a high team score? What's the secret to that?
I'd say what helps a lot is you're always going to have your fast guys or fast guys and girls that kind of go out, and and your whole team doesn't have to be with them. One thing we experienced this year is teams do really good pack running, which is kind of what you need to do to excel as a team.
Yeah.
You need to have your teammates work together because you can have one guy that runs 15 flat and your team still won't win. So it's just, I think your teammates just working together and training together and holding each other accountable is kind of what makes the teams really good. And yeah, it's almost like you don't want to lose to your teammate. And I've experienced that before where I'm like running and I'm like, man, if I could stop right now, I might. And then I hear someone behind me and I'm like, who is that? And then if I realize it's my teammate, then all of a sudden it's like, gotta go, you know? And I think that's kind of how teams do so well, is just pushing each other through the race.
Yeah, being accountable, which is really a cool thing to learn. You know, I think about, you all been with Gateway a long time and you're seniors, you're moving on. Mm-hmm. What would you take as a lesson and say, here's the one thing I feel like I really learned at this school with all the experiences you have? What would be your like biggest takeaway for you, Faye, that this is the lesson, one of the lessons I learned at Gateway is this?
For me, it would probably be, if you want to improve at something, you need to set aside a dedicated time to work on it. That's for cross country, waking up in those mornings, showing up at practice, getting there early so you can get a good warm up in, and even in the classroom, if you're struggling, making sure you schedule tutorial times and everything and communicate with your teachers. So make sure you're working towards your goals.
What about you, Alex? What's your big takeaway?
Hard work pays off, I guess. I would say I was not good when I started. I joined, just for soccer, and I started, and I did the best I could in 7th grade, waddling to the finish line, and I just think I just really decided, like, after my 8th grade season, I didn't really see any improvement. I was like, I want to be good, so I just started running, and I started running through the summer and being consistent. And at times I was like, I'm never going to be good. I was like, I don't know if this is ever going to pay off. But just like through the years, after countless practices of just going as hard as I could, I realized that it does pay off in the end. And being consistent and how hard you work, it will show up eventually. Maybe not in the current moment, but it pays off in the end.
Yeah, for sure. So when you look back, we talk at Gateway about mastery, getting really, really good at something. In your time at Gateway, Faye, what do you think really you got really good at because you were in this environment at this school that you kind of mastered? Maybe outside of cross country, maybe there's something else. You go, I got good at this because of this experience at Gateway.
For me, it would probably be communication skills, especially with teachers and everything, like exploring that, especially with because at Gateway, since it's a smaller school, you get more one-on-one time with your teacher. And so I got more comfortable with talking to authority figures and everything, and not being afraid to ask for help, and just sharing my thoughts, and in general, just learning how to carry a fun and respectful conversation.
Yeah. What about you, Axel? What's something you mastered while you were here? Do you feel like, I got pretty good at this? And maybe it was hard to kind of get mastery of.
That's a good question. I think it's kind of similar to Faye, which I don't want to steal her answer, but communication with teachers, I was always really scared. I remember a distinct memory was in 5th grade because I got here in 4th grade. In 5th grade in science, I had a 50 because I missed a day of school and she put a 0 in, and I didn't know how to talk to her, and I was freaking out. And that was kind of my first time, and I always had a hard time just talking to teachers about just if I was doing bad, because I was worried they're going to get mad at me. You find out that they're people too, so, and they're not super mean, scary people. So that was one thing I just had to work on. And if I wasn't in the wrong just to ask a question. So.
Good, that's great. What about plans afterwards? What are you going to be doing after graduation, Faye?
My plan right now is to go to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and major in actuarial science in the business department.
Have you been to Nebraska in the winter?
Not in the winter. I went and visited last week, so it was still really nice out.
Yeah. This time, but February, get used to it. Anyway, you've been a Texas girl most of your life?
Oh yes.
Okay. I'm sure it's a great school. Good for you. And what about you, Alex? What are your plans after graduation?
So I'm trying to go into culinary school after.
Really, huh?
And there's a 4-year program at Nichols State, which is in Louisiana. And that's what I'm leaning towards right now. It's that and Stephen F. Austin University, which they have a pretty strong hospitality administration program. And so that's what I'm thinking about right now. I think I'm leaning towards Nichols. And also they have a track team that I could walk on.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm going to keep working as hard as I can. Hopefully I can maybe even get a scholarship. But that's my plans.
Good for you. Culinary. So you want to be the cook, you want to be a master chef.
Yeah.
I checked out a culinary school outside of New York City a few summers ago. It was it was just a really cool experience. And all these people were in training. It was a really, really nice college, by the way. I mean, I'll try to find that for you as maybe another option. I don't know. Yeah. But I had a wonderful meal. It was really, really, really cool. So that's awesome. You can do really well. Then you become an owner of a restaurant or something like that too. You never know. But what a great thing. Okay, so we've talked about your plans. You've talked about what you want to do. But when you look at giving advice to a young Gator to be successful at Gateway, what would you tell a young 4th, 5th grader that they should do so they're successful when they leave Gateway? Any advice? Maybe you gave it already because you told them about organization and all that and have a plan, but
it would probably be kind of like what Alex said earlier. Just remember your teachers are people too. You can carry conversations with them. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Try to stay organized. I know you keep a planner. We have Canvas now and Blackboard. Just try to stay on top of things, but make sure you're still having fun.
Alex, for somebody who influenced you the most, besides family, no relative.
Okay.
Who would be somebody you go, that person had a big influence on me, a positive influence on you?
Would it be for sports or for
anything at all, whatever comes to mind?
Okay, this is kind of weird because the guy is still in my class, but in cross country, there's one of my classmates, Daniel Ariola. He was a very, very fast runner in middle school, and I was always for a while, I was I'm never gonna be as good as him. But I started kind of chasing after him. I was like, you know what, maybe one day, if I work hard enough, I'll get to him. And he always pushed me in practices. And I remember one practice in specific, he was lapping me. So, I mean, it wasn't a glorious moment for me, but he said, come on, run with me. So I started running with him for 5 minutes. And I think ever since then, it's been he pushed me so much just to get where I was and to have someone just to chase after and try to become as good at. And I think he was probably one of the most influential people.
Very cool. That's great. That's also a young person. That's awesome. Okay, so get down to the last couple of questions. Here's what I like to ask. I decided to give you $500 after this podcast and say, here you go. Here's $500 cash. What are you going to do with it, Pat? What are you going to do with your $500 cash?
So thank you.
Very good for you. Your parents taught you well. Good for you.
$500. Okay. I'm trying to think here.
So you don't really know. Okay, Alex, what are you going to do with $500 bucks?
Okay, that's a great question. Since if it's today.
Yeah, today I'm going to hand it to you as soon as we get out of here.
Okay.
I mean, theoretically.
Oh, theoretically. All right.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
First thing was I'd probably get my mom a birthday gift, because it's her birthday today. So, happy birthday, Mom. Yep, happy birthday.
Well, when this thing gets posted and it goes live, it probably won't be. But anyway, that's great.
I'll make her watch it, though, so she can see I said it. But if it wasn't that, I'd probably get some new track gear, because I don't have a lot. I'm not going to lie. So, maybe some new shorts and shirts and things like that.
Yeah. Well, it's good to get to know y'all. Thanks for coming out and learning a little bit more about you. It's just awesome y'all been with our school. You're the kind of kids that we love to see walking across the stage, graduating, because you really have added a lot to us. Just to watch you perform and what your plans are is great. And I know there's been a lot of teachers behind you, along with your parents, that have helped you get where you're at. But thanks for coming on today and sharing a little bit about yourself. And go Gators!
Go Gators!
I've got the athletic director and cross-country head coach Eno joining us now. Coach, those are some outstanding young people that are about to graduate at Gateway College Prep. And first of all, thank you for the job. I'm sure you've played a big role in that too. Tell us a little bit more about Faye. What else can you share with the Gateway community about her?
Well, today we found out that Faye was elected elite high school all-state cross-country by the Texas High School Coaches Association. And what they do is they take their GPA, their class rank, their test scores, and they give them points. And then the ones that have the top are elite, and then you have first team, second team, and honorable mention all state. So she was elite. Now she right now is by a few points. They're fighting over it all the time, but she's number one in our class, the valedictorian. We'll see at the end. I think she'll keep it. She's tough like that, but she's great test scores. She's talking about going to Nebraska, but she's also Drake. She's able to go to Drake University also. So
Fantastic. That's great.
Pretty impressive.
Truly a scholar athlete. This is what we're trying to create here at Gateway and graduate. Alex, great kid. I've watched him for many, many years here. Just I bet he's been a joy to coach. Tell us a little bit more about Alex.
It's a funny story when Alex was talking about when he was in middle school and he was struggling and everything else. He was just a little old chunky kid out there running. And, and you go, okay, keep him going and work with him and stuff like that. And you could see the light that he was talking about turn on to him. And the next thing you know, he's working his way up the ladder as one of the top runners. And Danny, his friend that, told him, he was talking about, well, Danny was our number one. And this year, Alex was our number one. He was our number one guy. He's not built like a cross-country guy. He's a big, thick kid, strong kid. And you go, that's not a cross-country kid, but he's made himself into a pretty daggone good one.
That's awesome. Tell us about the season you had. I guess let's a little bit about middle school too, because the feeder to your high school program. And then how did the high school year go? Give us a summary of the year.
Our middle school ended up, the middle school boys, 7th and 8th grade, both teams won the district title. That's the 10th year we've won it in a row. Middle school guys, in fact, the 7th grade boys tied for first, and when it goes to a tie at your 5 runners, it goes to your 6th runner. And our 6th runner outran Laga Vista's number 6 by 5 places, so we won the meet. So when we talk to those kids about running in a pack and that every one of you count, that was a prime example. But and then our girls did a pretty good job. We had a full 7th grade girls team and an 8th grade girls team, and they finished like 3rd, which is not bad for our ladies because volleyball, a lot of them are playing volleyball instead of running cross country, which makes sense. And then high school wise, our girls ended up finishing 3rd and going to regionals and ran at regionals. And their season was kind of a fight season where they were fighting land passes every week. And we would win 2 weeks in a row. We'd beat the Lampasas girls, and then Lampasas would end up beating us 1 week, and then again we'd come back and beat them. And at district we won. We beat them, knocked them out, and we ended up going. The guys really was a great year. The worst they finished was 4th. We won 2 meets, finished in 2nd in one other meet, and 3rd in another. So we were running really well. The week before district, we ran at Marble Falls where the district meet was. We finished 2nd. Really felt good going into district, and then at district meet, we just really didn't run real well, and so it the guys didn't qualify. Now Alex did. Alex qualified individually, and our sophomore Max Rodriguez qualified individually, and they went and ran at regionals. But the guys were a little disappointed, and I was a little disappointed. I thought we were going to do it, with the guys because they had such a great year, and they get tired of hearing about the 2016 team that won the district title.
So, kind of wrap up. That's a good summary of kind of how the year went.
Right.
But your seniors are going to be moving on. And what do you want to say to the sub-varsity kids that are going to be stepping in? What do you want the Gateway cross-country future runners to be doing to help you get even better next year?
You gotta go back. You gotta go back to work. You gotta work hard. You gotta put in the time, and it's just like your classroom. You gotta work hard in your classroom, and you gotta put the time in. And if you're not gonna do that, you're not gonna have success in the classroom. You're not gonna have success with us, and that's where cross country really works well with the school stuff. And that's why a lot of our cross country kids are good academics, because if you're not gonna work hard and put in time, you're not gonna be successful in our sport. And that's just 3 miles. You're going to have to put in 6 mile days. Long runs are 8 miles. So a kid doing 8 miles in the summer by himself, that takes a disciplined kid, and a kid is going to be working hard. So my young guys, that's what I've got to have. I've got 4 seniors or 5 boy seniors graduating. I've got to have those 8th grade guys, which won the district title. I've got to have them come and work this summer with our 2 or 3 sophomores we had on our team and get us back to where we need to be. We lose Faye, and that's going to hurt on our girls team, but the rest of them come back. Get a couple more soccer girls to come out. Got 2 8th grade girls are pretty decent runners, and we can get them working with us. We should be back at the regional meet with the girls, but you gotta go work.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get to work. Well, I know, we always face the issue of we're a smaller school competing against bigger schools, and so and cross country is a numbers game, right? I mean, you got to the more bodies you have, the more it helps you with the team scores.
Right.
But there's the individual scores as
Right.
well. So I know you're trying to help each kid be the best they can be,
Right.
and that's where we expect at Gateway. So.
Exactly.
Coach, I always appreciate you coming on and sharing your visions and all the work that you do.
Oh, yeah.
You understand the mission, the vision, and I know you coach the kids extremely well. So we're excited. Thanks a lot for joining us, and go Gators.
Go Gators, man. Let's go get it.